Oh, Wolfpack Nation. Today is a sad day for all the doubters out there because we pulled off a victory yesterday, baby. Woo, man, against
Yes,
Clemson.
sir.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, man. Well, first of all, I mean, I think we're all here today, first of all, just to absolutely be thrilled with this victory. Obviously I think that again, we'll talk a little bit more about today in terms of kind of the thoughts about it. But I mean, just to sit here 3-1 after beating Clemson, which I mean, I think we all can say was, I mean, just a huge monkey on our back and on Dorn's back, because that is the only ACC team that Dorn has not had a victory on.
It was a
Um,
freaking gorilla, man. It was huge.
it was it was ginormous. So to pull that off is huge. I mean, first of all, I mean, obviously a huge 27-21 double overtime win yesterday. And first of all, I do gotta say that because I think this was the first game that I really learned about really the full extent of the overtime rules, the new overtime rules, about how instead of doing, I think you used to do like two overtimes, and then you would do two where you had to go for two, and then you would do, et cetera. And so to learn that basically you do one overtime with an extra point, and then the second overtime you have to do it with 2 points, and then after that it's just going back and forth 2 point conversions. I'm like, I can't even like, my heart couldn't even like think about like just going back and forth 2 point conversions. That's insane. Oh my gosh.
One play. Yeah, I don't know why they. I mean, I understand kind of why they changed it because they wanted to get the games over, but
Yeah,
that they changed it after that LSU Texas A&M game that went to seven overtimes, and that was awesome. So I don't know. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but
it's a player safety thing. I get it, but
exactly.
but well, and also too TV wise as well. I mean, imagine planning for like a 3.5, 4 hour game. All of a sudden it's 5 hours in, and it's like holy smokes, like But it's so definitely had to mention that because I mean, was stressful. But first thing I do want to say as well is, I mean, I could not be happier for this team. I could not be happier for Coach Dorn, this coaching staff, for this fan base, but also too even for Chris Dunn as well. That's one thing I wanted to immediately go ahead and mention as well. For a guy that is a career as at NC State, an 80% field goal kicker at NC State, to go 0 for 3 yesterday. And again, the first field goal was not the greatest snap, not the greatest hold, so can't necessarily blame that on him. But you know, it was. I mean, my heart broke into a million pieces immediately because I just felt like it was deja vu all over again. But for the guys, I mentioned this on Twitter about how the guys rallied around Chris and said, "We got this. We're going to get this done." And to pull off a victory the way they did, could not be prouder of this team. And I think it says so much about this team, about the maturity and the chemistry of this team.
Yeah, I think everybody in the stands, like you just feel it just sucked the air out of the stadium. But at the same time, I was thankful that the team didn't give up, but the fans, they just kept going. They're like, okay, look, we're still in this game. It's not like we've lost yet. We haven't lost yet. But man, that was Chris Dunn was over 3. He did. I will say he got the one extra point that mattered. So I mean, at the end of the day, he got the one that mattered. So, and I'm just glad. Some people joke. I'm thankful for his DMs on his Twitter account.
Yeah.
That because after what happened with Chris Dunn 5 years ago, I did not want that same kind of thing to happen again to Chris Dunn. Or sorry, with Kyle Bambard 5 years ago.
Yeah.
We're having something happen to Chris Dunn. So
yeah,
and we're not talking about it. I mean, like we kind of are, but it's not the same that State blew opportunity. Like guys, we beat Clemson.
Yeah,
like, we beat them.
I know.
Like, we did it. We did it. And like the whole argument of Dorian can't get big wins. Well, guess what? He did it. And you can't say that anymore. He's got the Louisville win from 2017. Now he's got the Clemson win. I mean, technically you could say the Pittsburgh win last year was a pretty big win on the road. So I don't buy in that narrative anymore. You can't say that.
Yeah, you can't.
Nope.
I mean, yeah. Well, going back to the field goal thing real quick. The first two was 53 and 51 yards. Those were not chip shots by any means.
And they were in the wind, against the wind too. If you look where the flags are blowing, I mean, a 50-plus yarder twice against the wind. I mean, not really mad about it. It's the chip shot that I think everybody's upset about.
Yeah, and then that last one, man, I I knew he was gonna miss it. I mean, after going over to, even though those weren't easy field goals, his first ones, and I just had so many flashbacks. And gosh.
Well, I remember I told y'all last week. I said, "Watch how ironic would it be?" Remember me saying this? If we go down there, and we win on a field goal.
Yeah.
When 5 years ago we lost, I didn't expect us to actually miss another one. So
yeah. I right when we got the ball back on that drive, I tweeted, I was like, "This is gonna come down to another field goal, isn't it?"
Yeah.
Sure enough.
But again, I just want to reiterate again that for anybody that's worried now about our kicking or whatever it may be, I want to go ahead and put that away. Saying again, he's an 80% field goal kicker for NC State. Again,
I think he's 83. Isn't he 83 officially?
Give or take. I don't know. Yeah. I saw that stat, but I don't know if that included the missed kicks yesterday. So I just said 80. But even 80% is more than good enough. So
they showed it on broadcast. I think he was 80.8%, including the first two missed kicks. Yeah, no. So again, I mean, and honestly, I would actually say, and I think I was saying this as well, is that I would honestly say that for a guy like Chris Dunn, who is not only a great kicker but also too is obviously very competitive. I mean, look at last year against Miami when he made that field goal and he did the groin chop to the Miami sideline or whatever. I mean, he's a competitor, and so honestly, I truly do think that from the way that the players, I saw on TV like Ricky Person and the coaching staff and a bunch of different players coming over to Chris, patting him on the helmet, putting his arm around him, whatever it is, they're going to fight for him. He's going to fight for them for the rest of the season. I guarantee you that. I mean, I fully see that. Unless it's just a ridiculously difficult field goal, he's going to be making some, man. Like he's going to make up for it. Don't you worry about it. So
but hey, we've talked about the field goal.
Yeah. So now it's positive.
So hold on. Let me get. All right, now let's get into the actual fun stuff.
Yes. So first of all, I mean, got to talk about Leary. I mean, I got to say again, I mean, that we were saying at the beginning of the season that this dude is a top 5 ACC quarterback, and I'm not saying that necessarily he is right now, but I'm saying from the way he played yesterday, against a tough Clemson defense. I mean, because again, he wasn't necessarily like killing it in terms of yardage, but again, he was making the plays he needed to. And he stayed in head, and hey, he made some tough throws. Again, that Devin Carter, as great of a catch as it was just as good of a throw. So I mean,
he was double covered. I mean, they had him 2 people on him. He had to put it there.
But that first throw he had Mezzi, he had to put it right there.
Yeah, that one too.
That back shoulder throw on the left side. I mean, Devin Leary, I think what is his individual stat? Not necessarily from the game.
Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure he's a 69% on the season.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's over 1,000 yards passing, 10 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions.
His QB rating for the season is 147.1. I mean,
pretty good
for the season. I mean, like again, that's against a Clemson defense who had not given up an offensive touchdown the whole season, and he threw 4.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, and again, because it wasn't necessarily that like Emezi had all 4, or it wasn't like Devin Carter had 4. Like it was spread out. Thayer had 1, Devin had 2, Emezi had 1. So because that's one of the things that you want to see is you want to see that versatility. And I mean, to see not only Bam looked really good, but Ricky looked really good yesterday as well. I mean, Emeka was just. I mean, Emeka was the. If there is
14 catches, right? He had 14, right?
14 catches. So
targeted 17 times.
16 yards.
Yeah. 8.3 yards on average, 1 touchdown. I mean, he was balling out, man. He was just dominant. And then I know Ricky didn't eclipse the 100 yards, but his average wasn't great. I would say the average for the rushing for Ricky was 4.3 yards. I'm looking at the stats here. It's not great, but it's
I mean,
we dominated.
4 yards a carry gets you a first down if you run it 3 times.
Yeah, we. I mean, I want to say this. I think my biggest concerns was, can our offensive line stop their defensive line? Can we? And we won.
They did a great job.
We won the line of scrimmage. I mean, you look at how the game played out. We did that. We controlled the tempo, and I mean, you look at that possession time. I don't know. I'm sure that probably everybody's seen that by this point. We had the ball for 42 minutes. And they had it for less than 18.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So,
because one of the media things too that a lot of people point out is well Clemson, they had a lot of injuries, but I mean, hey, I mean again, we were without Peyton Wilson, Cyrus Fagan, and I mean, and hey,
CJ Clark. CJ
yeah,
Clark.
without CJ
Yeah,
Clark as
late
well, that
scratch.
was a big loss
Mhm.
before the game as well. So, and I mean, again, even when they're one of their best defensive tackles, one of their best defensive players in Breesy, he played most of the
Mhm.
game, and I'll say for pretty much the entire game, that our offensive line had the defensive line on lock. I mean, they weren't getting through very
Yeah.
easily. So,
And
um,
I'll add this too. All of those losses that we had, and we're on defense. Like those injuries are all on defense. And I'm
Yeah.
telling you what, this defense is a truth, man.
Mhm.
Like you talk about that, that's 4 games in. And I know we need to be giving Tony Gibson some credit because
huge credit.
I get Clemson's not had a great offense so far this season. But if you look through the 4 games, and I get also Furman and South Florida are not really that great on offense, and neither really is Mississippi State. But I think I saw a tweet I sent out that we're like 3rd or something, or 2nd or something like that in third down stop percentage, I think, in the country.
Probably.
I believe it.
I mean, Clemson was 2 for 11 yesterday on third down.
I'm gonna see if I can find that. But yeah, that
Which is
was
terrible.
it's just nuts
Yeah.
to me.
I mean, yeah, I've seen. I saw somebody, so I knew it was going to happen. I saw Joe Ovius quote tweeted somebody who said, yeah, Clemson's not great this year. They had all these injuries. This win doesn't really mean nothing. It's like, okay, slow down. Clemson
Yeah.
has all their backups are 4 and 5 stars. Like, sure, Breesy went out, but not until the third quarter. Skalski was also out, but they still had.
But we
Balin
put them
Spector.
out. Is what I don't get
Yeah.
at. We put them out. It's not like they just walked into the game and
Yeah.
they're injured.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, they still had Balin Spector and Miles Murphy on the D line, and then Spector's linebacker. But those two are NFL caliber players too, and
Yeah.
they were in the whole game. And so, we
And you had arguably the best defensive coordinator in the country running the
Yeah,
defense.
Highest paid
so-
for
exactly.
sure. Highest paid for
Yeah.
sure. So
and
here-
well
here's
deserved.
here's a stat. So it was Steve Williams from Inside Pack Sports. He had on his Twitter account. He said, long ways to go, but through 4 games, Wolfpack defense has been tremendous. 7th best nationally in total defense. Scoring. So 7th best in these 3 categories.
Totally.
Total defense, scoring, and first down defense.
First
We're
down defense.
2nd best in third down defense.
Okay. Wow. I mean,
And that's with they're the leading tackler in the ACC coming back, Peyton Wilson. He's out. Cyrus
Mhm.
Fagan, who was a starter, and CJ Clark, doesn't sound like CJ Clark is a season-ending injury. It's just like a
no.
temporary thing. But either way, 3 starters on defense are out, and you still have got those stat lines.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
It's
think that
truth.
we were. I think we were higher yesterday. I think giving up 21 points to Clemson knocked us down a little bit, but I think we were top 5 yesterday. They were saying Clemson was first, obviously, because they hadn't given up an offensive touchdown. I think we were 5th.
Well, because I mean, again, can keep in mind too that again, this is for those who watch college game day, this is our team in Clemson that when they talked about this Clemson team and this Clemson game on college game day, all of them are saying that this is going to be the breakout game for the Clemson offense. Like this is the game where DJ Uiagalelei is going to have his breakout. And I mean, to say we held him at bay is, an understatement. I honestly, that was the most shocking thing to me, honestly, of the entire game was I just could not wrap my head around that. Literally, Clemson, and because we had some friends of ours that were with us at the game that are Clemson fans, and I literally turned to them and I asked them, "So, are there any injuries on the Clemson offense up until
No.
the game?" No, there aren't. So
No.
that is literally your offense, healthy. That's unreal
Like
to
I
me.
said, they broke it down that there's I think a couple guys at least on the offense side that had never played in a true real game. And I know DJ for Clemson and Clemson in general, they played at Notre Dame last year with DJ as a quarterback. But I was listening to another podcast, and they were saying that's they were like 15,000 fans in the stadium that game. It wasn't like a true Notre Dame road game. So this was way different, and they've never experienced that before. And I've read that their offensive line has not been great this season in general.
They haven't.
A lot of young guys, and just not. If you think about it, Clemson's never really put a ton of offensive linemen in the NFL, and they're just generally down this season. But yeah, that's just to your point.
And it's weird to see Clemson like this because, I mean, their first offensive drive, they went down and scored right away. And then that one drive they had in the fourth quarter to tie it, I mean, we couldn't stop them on either of those drives, and it looked so easy for them. And then the rest of the game, we just stuffed them. So it looked like they could have done it if they wanted to, and our defense was just made the right adjustments.
Right. Yeah. So I want to ask you've already answered yours, Layton. I think you can say this, but what surprised you the most about this game? And I think it was yours. It was basically how ineffective their offense was. Is that essentially it, Layton?
I mean, I would definitely say that. But if you had to ask me more from the NC State side, my biggest shocker, or I guess my biggest surprise. Go ahead.
What impressed you the most? And then what was the biggest obviously besides the kicking, let's say what impressed you the most?
Yeah.
Or shocked you?
Well, I mean, for me, really, I would say the biggest. That's tough. I mean, I don't know if necessarily shocked is the right word, but more of overjoyed that it finally happened was Corey Durden finally showing up, man. I mean, that dude, he had a big game yesterday. And just because we've talked about him so much and we knew how talented and how good of a player this guy was. And so for them to have 1.5 sacks /2, they gave it to him as a half a sack, the second one.
Yeah.
But, because again, and Macon said it in the last episode that our defensive line needs to have a big game. Now, was I over thrilled by our pressure? I felt like that we could have done a better job in certain times. Like for example, that the first touchdown, I think it was. We were giving DJ all day long, and I mean, it was literally probably 10 seconds for him to throw the ball, and so I mean, it was only a matter of time before he made the touchdown. But so I would say that would be it for me. Was just overjoyed that Corey Durden is showing up, and it's Durden time. So
yeah, that's what I said. Durden time. Right. What about you, Michael?
Mm-hmm. I think we did a good job making some adjustments on offense.
We did make adjustments.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
First 2 drives on third downs, we ran double screens, and I was like, "Come on!" And then and credit to Tim Beck. I think after those first 2 drives, he called maybe 1 or 2 screens again.
Yep.
So
he really mixed it up. He really mixed it up well. He had a lot of. I noticed that we ran a lot of motion stuff in the backfield before the play was snapped. I think to see what Clemson was probably going to be doing on defense. But yeah, that's a great point. Cause I was talking to the fans. I know Late and I were at the game, not together, but they were. My fans around me were like, "This is like." I was like, "Why are we doing these screenplays? Like, we're like, let's let the bread and butter, and if we don't get away from this, we're gonna get hammered." And thankfully, we did. So, like that again, to Tim Beck's credit, I feel like the Mississippi State game was just a really bad showing by the team, but I think the play calling by Tim Beck in general. Beyond that, I mean, he's been great. Like this was a great calling game.
Well, yeah. And I do want to go ahead and say as well. I know that there's been some people that have tweeted out or whatever saying, well, imagine if we would have beaten Mississippi State too. But again, immediately when I say that, at the end of the day here, we're not here to win that. Like our first goal this season, our biggest goal needs to be win ACC championship, because there's no doubt, especially after now that we've won this game, that ACC title is well within the horizon.
Yeah,
I mean, it's well within. Like we are looking at it. And so, because honestly, too, I mean, because obviously hindsight's 2020, but honestly, I truly do think, and I said this when we lost to Mississippi State, that hopefully maybe that is kind of a kick in the right direction of this team to kind of wake up. It's time to step up and let's go. And let's play how we know we can play. And maybe it made a difference yesterday. I don't know, but. Again, at the end of the day, I would take beating Clemson over beating Mississippi State any day, twice on Tuesday.
Sure. I would say, I thought for me, one of the things that impressed me the most.
Go for it.
Besides the individual performance by Leary and Emezi. I mean, Emezi went off. That was his career game, in my opinion. That's the one he goes and shows his NFL draft scouts first.
Yeah.
But I was just impressed how we dominated them on the line,
both sides.
Both sides. Yeah. And I was like, we're running this ball at will. I mean, we're not getting like break off these huge runs or anything, but we're just getting like the average like 4 yards of carry. And it's just like if we wanted to run, we could. And if we wanted to stop them, we could. I mean, like on defense, I will say this too. We've talked about how, this team is not really on this 3-3-5 defense. They've not gotten a ton of pressure. And man, you just felt like they were all over DJ. Our defensive line, Durden, Joseph. I'm trying to remember some of the other guys.
Savion was back there.
Jackson, yeah.
Isaiah Moore had a big game. I was very impressed with him.
Well, I mean, like he's a linebacker. I'm just talking about defensive line, but yeah, Isaiah Moore was nuts. Especially but either way, that just really impressed me. I was like, so you're telling me we can do it? It's just a matter of us doing it.
Yeah.
So that's what I can take away from that. So this whole thing about like, well, they just I mean, maybe their offensive line is bad, but I know their defensive line. Like, so there should be no concerns to me running the ball moving forward unless we get hurt, basically, or something like that.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, knock on wood, wherever.
There was
knock on wood. You're gonna hear that. So
there was on another thing that I was impressed with was Donovan Knight. I mean, holding on to the ball this game. He did drop it once, but he did drop it once, but he recovered it. And then there was another play that I don't know if you guys at the game probably didn't notice, but it was just like kind of a run up the middle. I don't know, 5 or 6 yards, and Brian Breesy was just like ripping at the ball, trying to get it from his hands, and like he's a big dude, and Bam just had it tucked in there and wouldn't let it go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, because one thing I wanted to mention as well is because I think one of the biggest things that I know that we had said was if we can shut down Shipley and just force DJ to beat us, like, if you're going to beat us, DJ's going to have to beat us. And I thought we did an amazing job with that, especially because, I mean, you kind of felt if there was a game for Shipley to go off, unfortunately, of this game. Why? Because this is where he's from. This is, like that statement game because, it was down to us and Clemson. And so for him to, have a big showing here in the stadium where he won his last state championship would be huge for him. And so, I mean, to limit him to only 3.3 yards a carry, 11 carries for 36 yards and 1 touchdown. I mean, I thought we did a great job with that. And because one thing I want to mention as well, and again, we're not here. We're not the Clemson talk or whatever. But the one thing which I do want to say, which I would really worry about if I'm a Clemson fan, is now with Shipley tearing his ACL, which by the way is terrible.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, he tore his ACL, so he's out for the season.
And
they are in trouble. Right? They are in trouble.
That's what I'm saying. So literally the only person who's had carries that hasn't transferred is Kobe Pace,
and he is. I'm sorry. He isn't. I don't want to say he's garbage, but that's what I think in my mind. He's just not. He is not effective.
No. So Clemson's in trouble. Like that's that.
They
play Boston College next week. Yeah.
My thing is they're going to have. I mean, if I'm playing, I don't really care about pace at this point. I'm just basically containing DJ because they're going to run it. They're going to have to run DJ now.
Yeah.
They didn't do it yesterday. They didn't do it a lot, and they did it more. I think, not more, but they did it. They did it yesterday. They're going to do it a whole lot more now.
Yeah,
he had a couple late in the game that kept the drive moving for him.
Okay.
Oh, Justin Cook said that Skalski has an ACL injury. Is that right?
Skalski is out for the season, but I think
so. Both Shipley and Skalski are out for the season after this game.
No, I got it right here. Andrea Adelson from ESPN.
Okay,
Sweeney confirms Brian Breesy is out with a torn ACL, so that's the season.
Yeah.
Better news on Will Shipley, leg injury, but expected to be back this season.
Did not tear his ACL. Okay. I read something earlier.
Breesy tore his ACL. Yeah. Shipley is not a torn ACL.
It's not a torn ACL. No.
Okay.
Shin tibia injury, expected to miss 3 to 4 weeks.
Well, because
pretty much a season.
Yeah. Well, because two things. One, I thought I read somewhere that he tore his ACL, but also two, because my wife she's studying physical therapy, and also two of her friends who were watching the game as well. All three of them said at the same time, right when it happened, like, there goes the ACL. There it goes.
And then they did the stability test on his knee, and it was like, yeah, it's ACL all day long. So I mean, for him to not tear his ACL, that was a blessing for Clemson for sure. But still, even still. So anyway, to kind of jump in though, one of the things I did want to say is obviously it was great to see how, I mean, we were able in overtime to make the plays we needed to win it. But by no means were we clean. In fact, I honestly would
No.
say that, I mean, we did not play well overall in the game. So, I mean, like there were so many opportunities where we could have easily been up on them easily. But I mean, we honestly kept them in that game.
So
Mostly,
many penalties.
yeah, mostly
Yeah, you look
penalties.
at penalties, 11 penalties for 105 yards. Now, granted, they had 13 penalties, and I would say their penalties hurt them the most. Like that fourth down, jumping off sides.
They had a couple of those, yeah.
Man, that was critical for them, and it was just I was just shocked, and I think we were texting back and forth. The guys here at Tuffy Talk were texting back and forth. If you look at those halftime stats, Clemson was 0 for 5 on third down conversions and had 8 rushing yards. Had the ball for like 9 minutes, and they were still tied. So it's like we were playing our hearts out, and we were playing really, really well. Like you look at that halftime stat line, it was like, I don't know, it was 100 or close to 100 rushing yards, something to that effect, 80 or something like that, 80 or 90. And if I'm Clemson, I'm looking at those stats, especially that 0 for 5 third down. I'm thinking, okay, we're playing awful, and we're tied. So if we can just convert and do our jobs, we're going to win this game.
Yeah, we were giving it to them.
And can we talk about too how much of a breath of fresh air it was? That honestly, I felt like that the refereeing was pretty much both ways. I mean, how many years in a row have we gone into the Clemson game knowing like Clemson's going to get the calls? I mean, look at the 2016 game that we lost, which you could talk about now because now we have broken that curse. But I mean that game, I could easily point out 3 different plays that were just egregious missed calls, and
there were 2.
Yeah.
Well, hey, different commissioner.
Hey,
different commissioner.
Maybe.
No, but there the 2 plays at the end of the game. The pick play where if Thayer Thomas scored in overtime, I thought, I mean, that can be 50-50. They call it or not. And then on the last play, I don't know who the defender was, but on the 4th and 5, he grabbed a handful of that jersey, and I thought they were going to call him for pass interference for sure. But
yeah, I can't remember who the DB was. I think it was Pitts.
I think it was Pitts. But one thing was, 2 things I would say that. First of all, with the pick play, is I think it was Carter was the guy that, if you're going to say the pick was a pick, is that, I mean, you can actually see him basically go like this, where he was like, trying to make sure. So, but I mean, and again, and then with the other one, the last play, first of all, if you throw a flag on that, holy smokes, that is a big, and because the thing I would say as well is that the receiver, it's not like he was making a grand effort to catch that ball.
No.
And, and he got held. Like, it just seemed like he basically didn't see it. And then by the time it got to me, he was like, well, shoot. I mean, I missed it, So
did the ball land inbounds either? Did it really land inbounds?
It was. I mean, it was within his arm's distance.
Yeah,
but I don't understand that. But again, I mean, I know we're talking about play calling again. We're not Clemson podcast here, but I just really want to just say out here that, I mean, I do not understand how you come out of a timeout and basically call up a play where it is a tough throw to basically do an over the shoulder throw to a wide receiver. Like, just like you need 5 yards, do a slant route, do a curl, something like, don't make it so difficult on a quarterback who has struggled the entire game. You know what I mean? So,
well, I mean, they're Clemson. That was the 4th loss they've had since like 2015 in the ACC. They're dominant, and I'm not going to apologize for winning. It's like,
absolutely not.
Yeah, I was talking to my cousin about that, and he was like, "Dude, we won. Who cares?"
Yeah, exactly.
How many times has it gone against us? Those kind of calls.
All day. That's what I'm saying. It's a breath of fresh air to actually see Dabo over there getting all pissed off. It's like, really, Dabo?
And can we talk about how awesome it is to see how happy Dave Doran was?
Oh, that was.
That was like.
I know. It was cool
I cherish that because I love him as a coach. I could think there's an argument to be made moving forward now, especially now that he's got this win against Clemson, that he could be somehow, if he keeps moving forward with the program, the greatest football coach we've had. And I mean, he's got to win. I mean, if he wins a championship someday, then of course.
Obviously,
But
yeah.
but he's like second all time in wins, and he's got to stay the core. He's not there yet, but the foundation he's built and how hard he's worked a decade, that he's never had that win, and he got it. And they let this, and I was just so happy he had the ACC network. He had the cigar and
the solo cup.
I didn't see any video clips. I'm wondering if they have any video clips of him being like tearful, but
I'm sure. Well, like seeing like his embrace with his wife after the game and seeing how happy he was, and seeing him like had his arm around Devin. And then once Devin went away, he was jumping up and down with the students in the middle of the circle. And a guy that has been challenged for years.
He'll never forget that.
We'll never forget that. Dude.
No, I know.
But yeah, all of us. Yeah, Doran. I mean, I'll say it right here in front of everybody. I mean, dude, I cracked a few tears for that game, dude. Like that was just such a big moment for me as a State fan. I know for a lot of people as a State fan. I mean, I look around, there was a lot of people because again, I mean, us State fans, like that is what those moments are. What we stick around as State fans for those moments of just ultimate gratitude.
You give us those, you have us for forever,
life,
basically.
Life.
And you go ahead, Michael.
I was just gonna say, I mean, it's one game, but it definitely felt almost program changing because we've been playing Clemson so close in the last, not the last couple of years, but 4 or 5 years ago we had back-to-back games where we lost by 1 touchdown. I just think it felt like that kind of Doran getting over the hump, and I don't know. We got to go out and beat Louisiana Tech next week, but
absolutely.
It felt different.
Yeah, you cannot blow this now. I mean, I'm not saying, hey, you can't lose another game. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like you've got an opportunity. I'm going to tell you guys what, Wake Forest is no joke.
They look good.
And they're not like giant slayers. But they are just so fundamentally sound.
They're solid. Yeah.
And they will not screw up, basically, like that. So you can't go in there and count on them screwing up. You need to go and you got to beat Boston College. Is the quarterback's last name Grosel? Is that the guy's last name?
I don't even know his name. I just know.
I think it's Grosel.
Sounds right.
G. With the G.
Yeah.
He didn't look bad.
No,
he didn't look bad.
They beat an SEC team with the backup QB.
Yeah, I know. I'm telling you what. And I'll tell you what. Side note. Did you guys see the size of that Boston College running back? That dude is humongous.
No. Is he big?
He is huge. He makes me think of that running back they had like about 10 years ago that went to the NFL, but had set like the Boston College rushing record, and I can't remember his name, but he's not playing now for
AJ Dillon. No,
no. But okay, so he's about that big. Put it that way. He's about that big.
He's a big guy too. Yeah.
And it wasn't AJ Dillon's the guy before that, but AJ Dillon's a great example.
I don't remember.
We cannot. I mean, Boston College is our next ACC game.
Yep.
Yeah.
On the road, and
it's gonna be tough.
You cannot screw that up, in my opinion.
No.
You have to beat. To me, I would be circling, generally speaking, the Wake Forest and Boston College games. I saw somebody joking around that said, "Who's excited about the Wake Forest versus Georgia Tech ACC championship game?"
I mean, maybe. Who knows?
But and as a side note, how sweet was that to see Carolina lose?
I knew at some point we had to bring up the topic of UNC. And
but howl for Heisman, guys. Howl for Heisman, and don't you dare say anything different, okay?
Where's the t-shirts? We need some t-shirts. Howl for Heisman that we can hand out. That's all red, And I mean, I even have to point out too about the UNC Barstool, how they tweeted out the video of Chris Dunn missing the kick. And then we went on to win, and they went on to lose.
Got killed,
and they didn't delete it. Which bravo!
Hanging in the Louvre.
Probably however you say that word. I know it's a museum or something like that, but
it's where the Mona Lisa hangs in Paris.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, because honestly, it's baffling to me about how. And I actually, my father-in-law, he's actually a Tar Heel fan. He was telling me that they were saying that Sam Howell's been playing so, and the team is so bad right now that he actually might come back next season. And like,
I don't
I
know.
don't know about that, but it's just their defense is just I mean to give up again for the Virginia game last week, give up 350 yards in the first half, and then this game give up 45 points to a very young Georgia Tech team. I'm definitely again it's I'm not going to say by any means that UNC's done or UNC's not good or whatever it is. That's still going to be a tough game, and when we definitely can look past it, but. I definitely am curious because honestly, I need to look at the standings, but I don't even know who's at the top right now in
The
the coastal
ACC?
besides Georgia Tech on the coastal side.
I think Virginia Tech up there right now because they got the win against Carolina, and it only
Yeah, I
counts
mean,
as the ranking. I think it might be Virginia Tech.
So Virginia Tech is 1-0, but they've only beaten UNC.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech's 1-1 in the conference, and then UNC's 1-2, and then the only other team in the Coastal has played the ACC is
Look it up right
Virginia,
now.
who's 0-2. So, so technically, right now Virginia
Virginia
Tech's at
Tech
the
is
top.
Virginia
They've
Tech.
only
and
played one game
makes it-
in Virginia Tech. So, but again, hey, hey, right now Wake Forest in at the top, but hey, and also too, look at it this way. Hey, we're the highest ranked ACC team right now, number 23.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So, I mean, I don't know how Clemson stayed in the top 25. I mean, well, I guess I do, but I mean, it's just, hey, 23, Wake Forest 24,
Take
and then
it.
Clemson 25. So, hey, take it. But yeah,
I'll tell
just
you what
like
though, hey, Louisville's technically ranked ahead of us. I think
Where are they?
they
No,
are.
they didn't.
unless in the coaches poll.
Well, no, I'm
Yeah,
talking.
not
I'm talking about rank. I'm not national rank. I'm
Okay,
talking about. I'm still looking at the. Yeah, it's Wake
ACC.
Forest,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Louisville, and NC State. So I don't know if there's a tie there for second, but yeah. So
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, and yeah, I mean Louisville again because everybody was saying like, man, Malik looked really good
Malik
against
Cunningham.
Florida State. Yeah, Malik Cunningham looked really good, but again, I mean,
Florida State stinks.
but also too, it has been said, and Malik has shown us so far that Malik is very inconsistent. So yeah,
Yeah.
he looked good yesterday, but I mean, he still hasn't shown anything yet that he's any more or less consistent than he has been over this last year and a half. Um, so so hold on, I need to bring in so in game here 14 Alpha said, OMG, look up the USA article about Carolina. They were absolutely
saw it.
insulting them left and right. OMG, they were brutal. I was so happy.
They basically called him the biggest frauds in football, is what they essentially said. And the guy really
Yeah.
did
Jeez.
not let loose. I'm gonna look at the title. He said they're the Milli Vanilli of football, is what somebody said.
Holy smokes. Ouch.
Yeah, he said they're the
Wow.
number one on misery index. The headline says opinion. North Carolina, number one on misery index, is a fraud, and then dash the Milli Vanilli of college football. That's the
Golly.
headline.
Jeez.
Well, I mean,
That's
They're not
I mean-
wrong.
what does he have against you?
It was
no,
Dan
but
Dan
like,
Dan
what?
Wolken of USA Today.
so state fans are tuning in. Are we still going to worry about UNC's recruiting classes? Like, come on.
No.
I mean,
like,
guys, look, it's the same story year after year. If there's ever a glimmer of hope for Carolina, the hype train kicks into effect. And
Mhm.
again, I said this, and I said all my friends who are Carolina my fans, and I'm sticking to it. How do you go 8-4 and last season lose the bowl game, and then come into this season, you lose 4,000 plus yards of offense with your two starting receivers, and more importantly, your two starting running backs, and somehow you're ranked higher?
Yeah.
How does that happen? Like,
and in the college football playoff talks, there was a couple
how
of
does
different
that
that had them in
happen?
there.
Like, I could kind of get the potentially like the warranted conversation for Heisman a little bit, because
For sure.
he would have to throw his mind out and play unbelievable, and the opportunities I could see would have been there for him.
Yeah.
But they're just not doing it. Now, granted, I will say that to be fair, we could very well have been in the same boat. We could be 2-2 right now.
Yeah.
And people be saying that, NC State's trash, but we're not. That's not the storyline now. We've played it better than they have.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Well, and again, it really comes down to that. Again, I completely agree with you, Megan, and you said it, and I am in my head saying absolutely. Is that, I mean, at the end of the day, that UNC is a brand, and when they have the chance, whoever it is, ESPN, whoever,
to jump on a story about, oh yeah, UNC's got Sam Howell, they got Josh Downs, they got these great, passing defense.
Josh
They're gonna
Downs is
jump all
legit
over it.
though. Josh Downs is legit.
Yeah,
though.
he's
He
good.
is, but again, it just seems like that the UNC offense is is not as uh uh spread out as they were last year. Last year, I felt like they had many more
No,
different
not even
weapons they could
close.
use, and so yeah, it's not even close. Especially running backs. I mean, Ty Chandler for UNC has been
That's it.
nothing less of ordinary. Nothing
He's it.
crazy
He's
about
it.
him.
That's it. If he couldn't do it at Tennessee, why do you think he can get done at Carolina? I mean, Tennessee's
Exactly.
harder. They have to play against, I guess, the SEC East and
Yeah.
Georgia and whatever. But
So,
Man.
hold on. So I got to ask y'all this question: do you guys think that Manny Diaz comes out of the season with the job?
I got a better question. Do you think Mike Norvell comes out of the season with the job?
Dude, I'm telling you.
I told you guys.
Mm.
I said I think this is going to be it for him. I just did not buy. I don't believe in him. I just think he's I'll say he's a fraud, but I just think he's 0-4. It's the first time since 1974. Now, as
Yeah.
far as your first question, what's Miami's
I don't
record
know.
right now? Are they 1-3?
Well, they're barely 1-3. They barely beat App State. Barely.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
Well, so
yeah,
looking
I think Manny Diaz will, because I think people love Manny Diaz down there.
I think so too. I don't know
But-
about Mike Norvell.
Norvell, I think he's done.
But this is a guy who, when he got hired, the athletic director said, this is one of the biggest days in Miami football history, or whatever it was. Like, absolutely hyped him up, had huge expectations. And also, too, he's got a baller in De'Aaron King. De'Aaron King is talent-wise one of the best quarterbacks in college football today, talent-wise. And so
Is he really healthy? Is he really healthy though right now?
But
I don't know.
Well, and again, who knows? But also, too, again, like, honestly, I think that part of it is like, let's put it this way: if De'Aaron King felt very strongly about this team and felt very strong about this season, I feel like he would make more of a push to be there. But again, right now, all of the reports is that it's kind of wishy-washy in terms of how healthy he is, which that kind of has a red sign to me. I mean, huge red flag to me, because if he was truly hurt, we would know about that. If he was healthy, we would know about that. But the fact that it's kind of wishy-washy in reports is like, okay, maybe there's a possibility that he's kind of healthy, but he's more just like, listen, this is ridiculous. I did not come back to,
Play this bad.
This is just terrible.
Maybe he's kind of sitting out because he doesn't want to. He wants to kind of leave it. He doesn't want to put more bad stuff on film. But and they're 2-2. Miami's 2-2. They've beaten Central Connecticut and
that was yesterday.
State.
Yeah, 69-0.
Yeah. Without De'Aaron King. De'Aaron King did not play, I don't think.
Yeah.
But so here, let's real quick. So Florida State's remaining schedule: they have Syracuse coming up, Carolina, UMass, Clemson, NC State, Miami, Boston College, Florida. So I see maybe
that back end of their schedule is brutal.
I see maybe 2 wins, maybe 2 or 3 wins max.
Repeat that again. So they've got.
So
you said UMass, so that's the one in my mind. I think Syracuse, they can get that one. So that's 2.
So Carolina, loss.
I don't know, man. I mean, Carolina's not great either, but I think Carolina's better than them right now.
I think Carolina's got an offense. I think Clemson has nothing. So I'm sorry, Florida State has nothing. That's the reason.
I'm thinking Miami. Sorry, I don't know why I'm thinking Miami. Florida State
has nothing.
Man, I don't know. Are they going to beat Syracuse? Did you see that there's some people talking about the running back for Syracuse as a potential Heisman candidate?
They're 3-1.
The running back.
I know they haven't beaten anybody, but they're still 3-1.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they beat. Go ahead.
No, I'm just thinking beating Syracuse, maybe. Maybe. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt and let's say they beat Syracuse. But I don't know if they get the benefit. Let's say they do that. Then they're not beating Carolina at this point.
No.
And although they beat Carolina last year, but
then UMass.
That's a win. Should be.
Clemson.
That ain't going to happen.
Well, NC State.
I don't think it's going to happen at this point.
Miami.
That's not going to happen at this point.
I don't think so either.
Rival game.
Boston College.
Probably not. With the
Probably
way they're
not.
playing.
At Boston College, not at Florida State. At Boston College. So I say no, and then at Florida.
2 wins.
Then at Florida. Golly.
No way.
So yeah,
2 wins. I mean, I will say a rivalry game. You never know.
They're going to get dog smacked by Florida.
I'm talking about Miami. I'm talking about Miami.
Okay. Yeah, Miami. Oh yeah. I see what you
there's
mean.
no way
Yeah.
they're beating Florida. I don't know, man. 2 wins. That's
2-3 wins.
like I said, Mike Norvell has got to be done. Like, I just don't like, especially when you look at the guys who've left the program this past offseason and are succeeding everywhere else.
Well, the only reason why he might keep his job because right now they have the 6th best recruiting class in the country, and so
It didn't happen. It don't matter. They're going to let that. It's not going to happen unless he's got some major contract that they're going to. But Florida State's got so much money. They're going to.
Yeah, they can buy him out if they wanted to.
Yeah, they could. But so again,
so you guys, my opinion. That's what I think.
Yeah. So really, right now, though, I mean, because everybody's saying, okay, obviously they're happy. I mean, for State fans, they're happy that we were able to pull off an upset. But now, I mean, there's absolutely no way in heck that there's going to be an ACC team in the college football playoffs. And so everybody's kind of a little bit mad at us or whatever that we knocked Clemson out of the college football playoffs talk. But let's be real. If we didn't knock them out, somebody was. They were going to lose to somebody.
Yeah. Well, let me say this. I want to point out some of these comments. And guys, if you got any more thoughts about the Clemson game, please continue to message them. Yes. I see Ted's comment about the story, just as a sidebar story he had, where I think it was his 3rd grade teacher somehow took his teachers was related to Roman Gabriel, and we played catch with them. That's a really cool story. Then primetime to FSU, Justin Cook said that. Does he leave Jackson State? I've always felt like alumni hires are terrible ideas because they don't really ever look at Frost at Nebraska, look at Sidney Lowe at NC State, look at a bunch of other people that just not really great. But I'm trying to get through these comments over here. I'm just looking through them. I'm also just kind of curious to wrap up the whole meeting, but just to think about this. Now we're a month into football. Okay. We asked this question last week. I'm going to ask it again now, especially after such a big win for NC State in particular. Who are the teams we know who they are, and who are the teams that we don't know? And what do we know? If we want to get into all that, but I'm going to look at who do we know are good and who do we know are trash.
So okay, well here, so let's go through, and I'm going to say the teams, and then Macon and Michael,
good or bad.
We're going to say good, trash, or I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, and like a quick comment about them if you want to, kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. So here we go. Wake Forest.
Good.
They're legit this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Louisville.
I think the jury's still out on them.
Don't know. I agree. Clemson.
They're going to be a top 25 team, maybe.
Yeah.
But that's only if they can figure out the running situation now, because they are in trouble.
Right.
Trouble.
You mean you tell me they're going to have to run? They're going to get through the rest of the season with a 3rd string running back at best until maybe if Shipley comes back. It's not happening.
Yeah.
That defense better be the best defense they've ever had, kind of thing.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And again, Justin, Wake Forest is very good, but again, I mean, they're just like Megan said earlier, they're no giant slayer. Okay, Boston College.
I think we know they're solid.
They're solid.
Yeah, because I mean, even with Jurkovic out, they still beat an SEC team with a backup QB. So they good.
Yeah, they didn't drop off. Is what the whole thing.
No, I mean, I think we'll see for the rest of the season kind of where they really drop to. So for me, it's kind of they're good, but we'll see kind of where they truly stand a little bit.
And I will say this: they haven't really played besides Missouri, who again coached by Eli Drinkwitz. That's their best win. They've beaten Temple and they've beaten Holy Cross and somebody else. Like they haven't played really anybody either. So I do think they're legit. As far as I think they're a solid team.
Yeah,
I think they're a top 4 team in the Atlantic at least.
In the Atlantic Division or in the ACC?
It might be the top.
I said Atlantic. I would put it this way. I think they're top 3 in the. Because I mean, are you going to really say they're? If you're going to say, I think it's top 4 in Atlantic because they're going to have to fight for a spot between us, Wake Forest, and Clemson.
Yeah,
I would say top 4.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. But yeah, and by the way, too, what a dumb comment by Eli Drinkwitz. I got to mention that
before the game. Yeah,
bulletin board material.
All right, Syracuse. Jury's still out.
No, well, I mean, I think we can kind of know. I
We
don't
can
think
know.
I don't think they're going to be a great team. They're going to probably get like. Do they have how many wins do they have now? Do we know? What's the
They're
record?
3-1.
3-1. But
But they haven't-
I didn't realize
who's
that.
the only actual good team they played too. I don't even remember who
Who
it was. They
okay,
lost.
hold on. I got to look up
that
who
was-
their schedule's been. Hold on.
That was their loss. The
When
only
they-
legit team.
They have played. They're the ones who played Holy Cross, I believe.
Oh, they did beat Liberty.
No.
Friday
Sorry. They played Ohio. They've played Rutgers, and they lost to Rutgers.
Mhm.
They've beaten Ohio, they've beaten Albany, and their best win today is against Liberty.
Liberty's not
solid.
bad.
It's a solid
Liberty's
win.
not bad.
Yeah,
That's a solid win.
I think they're like going to end up being like 5th or 6th in the Atlantic. I think they'll finish with probably like 5 wins, 6 wins, maybe compete to finally, try to get to bowl eligibility.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. So,
Yep, I agree with that. Florida State,
Trash.
trash. Virginia Tech.
Oh, now we're going to the Coastal. That I can tell you that jury's still out of there. I mean, I have no idea who they are.
I agree.
Well, I don't know what they like. I don't even know what they want to do. I think they want to run the ball. I mean, want to throw the ball. They have Trey Turner as a receiver, and they've got one of the best punt returners in the country.
For me, if they would have beaten West Virginia, I would say they're a good team.
Yeah,
but they lost to West Virginia. I don't.
But at the same time, West Virginia almost beat Oklahoma on the road, so it's not like it's a bad loss.
Well, but it's yeah. I mean, it's
a rivalry game too. Virginia Tech and West Virginia, if you guys don't know, they hate each other.
Right.
Yeah, hate. East from the Big East.
Yeah.
Well, again, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that I think they're a bad team. I'm just saying that if they would, because basically the question that we're asking here is, are they bad on the line or good? And if they would have beaten West Virginia, I would say good. But right now I'm saying on the line because I'm not sure yet, just like you were saying. So,
I agree.
So we'll figure it out. Georgia Tech.
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know either. I still don't know.
I think that jury's still out on them. The Coastal is such a hogwash. I mean, it's
because this is still a team that lost to Northern Illinois. They lost to
Northern Illinois. They've beaten Kennesaw State, lost in Carolina, and right now Carolina doesn't look so great. But
almost beat Clemson last week.
Yeah, I would say. Let me put it this way: Georgia Tech's going to have their best year under Jeff Collins. I think.
I agree.
But that's not saying much because they've been terrible.
Yeah, true.
So I'm thinking kind of like they're going to be there. They are the Syracuse of the Coastal right now. I think they're going to be like a 5-6 win competing to get bowl eligibility. Now they could come out and shock everybody in my mind and be like 7-8 wins, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, that's a bold statement.
But again, like the Coastal is so wide open right now. It's Miami is nothing. Miami's nothing. I mean, to me, the biggest threat is Carolina, who they've already beaten, Pitt, and Virginia Tech.
Okay.
If they can beat Pitt and Virginia Tech, they may very well just win the Coastal. Now, they got to beat them, but could a 4-4 Coastal team win the Coastal? Yes.
At 4-4?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
I guess.
I guess what more of
all the tiebreakers.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
That would be wild.
So, well, again, let's keep going down this Coastal line, and then it'll kind of prove the point the more we go down this line. All right, now Carolina.
Jury's still out on them. I will say we know they're not what everybody said they were.
No.
We know that.
Yeah. Basically, if they're going to win against a good team, they're going to basically have to outshoot them just like they did against West Virginia. They're going to have to score 50, 60 points in order to win the game.
Now, I will say this. I do think by the end of the season, they'll be a top 25 team. I do think that'll happen.
Wow.
I don't think it'll be like top 15. I think it'll be like just inside the top 25 is what I think.
Yeah.
Because they're I mean, Sam Howell is so talented.
Yeah, he's too good.
He's too talented, and I think Phil Longo's a really good OC for them. And they got all that talent over there. But they're not what they were. Everybody said they were going to be.
So the next team, and I want to kind of mention a comment after I say their name, but Duke. So
We know.
they've played Kansas, Northwestern, North Carolina A&T, and Charlotte.
We know who they are.
They've played nobody.
Yes,
Absolutely
Yeah.
nobody.
we know who they are. And you know what? They don't have to because they know they are going to be at the bottom, and all they care about is just I don't know what they really care about. If they can get in a
They
bowl
put up
game
some
and play,
points,
and
though.
yeah, but I
Yeah,
mean,
but it's like Shreveport, like
Yeah.
like they're
No.
3-1 right now, which is like, oh my gosh, 3-1.
Yeah.
But they've played absolutely nobody. All right, Pittsburgh.
man,
I don't
I think
know.
I think they're I
I
think
don't
they're
know.
I think they're a top 3 team in the Coastal. That loss to
Western Michigan.
Western Michigan is
That was
so
tough.
perplexing, and I think it'll be similar to looking at NC State.
Mhm.
That our loss to Mississippi State is bad, but losing to Western Michigan after beating Tennessee on the road, that Pittsburgh Tennessee game, I think was the best game week 2.
Yeah,
It
it
was
Yeah.
it was awesome.
was a great
And
game.
Kenny Pickett is a legit quarterback. And Jordan Addison is a legit receiver.
He's good.
But I think we know they're a solid team. I think that
Yeah.
they're gonna be they're gonna be a tough game whoever
Yeah.
they play.
Yeah, I agree. So jury's still out for me as well. All right, Miami. Jury's still out for me.
I don't know. I think
But
I
lean
think we
towards
know.
bad.
I think
Yeah.
we know.
Well, because again, talent wise, experience wise, it's there. It's just not coming together. So that's the
Right.
thing. They can turn around at any time. It's just that again, they did not lose a single offensive starter from last season to this season.
But what confidence do they have?
That is crazy.
Right, that's what I mean.
Put
I
it this
agree.
way: maybe if they get the big win, whoever their big win is, say they go and they beat Carolina, whoever their early game is of the season, they beat Virginia Tech or they beat Pitt.
Yep.
I mean, could that just snap into their? I just think they have no confidence.
I agree. Well, and
Neither
again,
does Florida State. Florida State has no confidence.
no. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I think it comes down a lot to Manny Diaz and Mike Norvell. So, just saying. But all right, then last team, Virginia.
I don't know. I mean, they played good against the bad teams they played, but then in the ACC
they're at the bottom. I mean, they beat Illinois.
Yeah.
They gave Carolina all they could handle.
Yes. They lost to a good Wake Forest team. But I would say honestly, losing by 20 points to Wake Forest is a little much for me to really say they're good. So I would say jury's still out because I think a 20-point loss to Wake Forest, I can't say they're good.
They're gonna beat Miami. I think they're gonna beat Miami on the road this week.
Yeah,
and that's my thought.
Well, and that first of all, that's okay. Do we want to say NC State? Do we want to?
I think we should wrap it up. This thing on this because I think there's still a jury out on NC State, but at the same time, I think we're a legit team. We're a legit team. I don't think it's not like, oh, there's no questions in my mind. It's like, no, there's questions. But the one thing I know, this defense is legit. Like I mentioned, they're legit.
Defense.
And Leary is legit.
He's legit.
I mean, he is legit. I mean, I think the play calling sometimes just needs to be on. I think there's some ball security issues, and sometimes I think of the receivers, like those deep balls, like
I was about to say that.
Like, do you guys really want that catch? Because they
were-
hit Anthony Smith and Carter in the hands right in the end zone twice, and they just didn't catch it. And it just when you look at the film, it's almost like they kind of were like too relaxed going into the catch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Devin Carter one, the first one, it looked like he almost like lost track of the ball or something for half a second because he slowed down and then tried to he like slowed down and then tried to like lunge for it and it bounced off his fingertips.
Yeah,
And then Anthony's
the Carter one I don't really give him much crap necessarily on because first of all, he made up for it. Holy smokes, he made up for it.
yeah.
But also too, I mean, yeah, I mean
Yeah, fair.
the sun was right there. So I mean, I get it,
Yeah.
but in a big game, you got to make those catches. So it's kind of like a okay, like I forgive you, but keep in mind
Yeah.
in the future cases, I need you to
Well,
make
but
those
I
catches.
think, but the casual fan will totally forget about that. Like
Oh,
they
yeah.
will they'll
Oh,
be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh yeah, you're
I
right.
hope
There
so.
was that catch. I forgot about that. So it's going to be. I think State is like kind of like where Pittsburgh is right now in the Coastal.
Mhm.
I think it's a legit team that has had a head scratching loss a little bit or early in the season, but
Yeah.
it ain't as bad as Western Michigan.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Because you
No.
lost at Mississippi State, who's one of the
Yeah.
toughest home crowds to play in front of in the country. So it's like,
I don't buy that though, because if you look people who were there at the game, they said it wasn't like nuts there. They were, I, people said, I heard
those
they were like
cowbells.
they were, huh?
Well, no, I was saying, but yeah, man, those cowbells, though, man, sheesh.
Oh,
But
it's
yeah, no, I hear
annoying.
you.
It's
Yeah, it's
annoying.
crap.
Yeah.
So, but again, so yeah, I'll say again, being the non-biased, I'll say on the border between the jury's still out and good. But
Yeah.
but I mean, but I think that again, because right now we opened up against Louisiana Tech as a 19-point favorite, which is definitely nerve wracking because you obviously saw
Big number.
Louisiana Tech did against Mississippi State.
Oh, we are.
But I think
Yeah.
that honestly though, for me, that this game, this Clemson game, is going to gain a lot of confidence for this offense. I think that this offense, for me,
Could
I'm
use it.
hoping to see a lot more confidence out of this offense from here on out. That's my hope. So,
Yeah.
because I mean, again, if you can compete against that defense, you're never going to see it. You're not going to see any tougher defense the rest of the season in the ACC.
That is a fair point. Yeah,
You're not going to see a tougher defense.
I'm thinking. I'd be curious to know what people's thoughts are if we beat Louisiana Tech. Do we officially get? I feel like it's going to be like a couple weeks. Like if we go beat Boston College on the road, we're going to be like, okay, we know.
We know.
We
No,
know the state's
5-1.
5-1. We would know.
5-1 with wins against Clemson and Boston College.
In 2-0 in the ACC. Yeah, we would.
No,
we
they're
would
a good
know.
team. They're a good team.
Yeah, I'm definitely more optimistic. Obviously, but like even that we didn't even play a perfect game. Like
No, we didn't.
and
did
still
not.
pulled it out. Yeah.
No, we did not. No. So yeah. So definitely. I think that we're all excited. And again, I think the key statement for this Louisiana Tech game for one, because first of all, we have to take it one game at a time, is do not blow it. I said this last week. If we beat Clemson, do not blow it.
It's gonna be a night game. I don't think we're gonna blow it. It's gonna be a night game.
No,
but I'm just saying.
I'm glad it's at home. Yeah,
don't blow
if we had to go on the road, I would be a little more worried. But
Yeah.
I am more nervous. Well, I mean, I am nervous about the Louisiana. I don't know if I'm more nervous. It's probably the same. Going on the road to Boston College has always seemed to give us problems, kind of like going on the road to Wake Forest has.
Yeah,
that's
And
true.
I mean, if Boston College goes into that game potentially 5-0, and they're gonna be like, okay, we're gonna be pulverizing because it'd be like, okay, NC State's kind of like the first in the Atlantic mindset, and if we can beat them, we've just notched ourselves above. State has to go in there like we're going to just again. They have to go in the mindset every game. We're going to destroy whoever we play.
Yeah, they have to.
And I like even Louisiana Tech this week. I'm going to play them just as hard as I played against Clemson. I know that's easier said than done, but
yeah, we need to destroy them by 50 exactly. So
Boston College plays at Clemson next week, and then they have a bye, and then
that's gonna be a big game.
Now I will say this too. Remember that stat? The teams who've lost to Clemson almost always lose the next game.
Mm-hmm.
So keep that in mind. That'll be a very interesting game for State fans to watch, that Boston College Clemson game. What happens from there is going to really impact how we handle that. I mean, it's big. I think it's going to be huge.
Well, because the one last thing I want to kind of mention here in terms of when I look at the Wake Forest and the Boston College game is if we can beat Boston College, the next game that we look at on our schedule is like the next big hump that we have to get over is the Wake Forest game. But I really would say that, I mean, if we go into that game with only one loss, that, I mean, there's going to be more. I would guarantee you there's probably going to be more State fans there than Wake Forest fans. I would say. I mean, it is going to be absolutely read out. They're going to show up for that game. So that's the only thing I would say. Which obviously,
Yeah.
Yeah.
In game alpha,
Good point.
yeah. In game 14-50. No. Remember, State fans never say part one. We're playing BC. We're gonna crush them by 50.
Is that bulletin board material for Boston College pulling up Tuffy Talk
Yikes.
stuff and putting it in there?
Yeah,
right?
watch out.
Yeah. No. So well, thank you all so much again. And if you're listening in, please make sure to please hit that subscribe button for us. As again, it really helps support us and the channel. And please make sure to follow us at Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter or Instagram. Like this video, and also just again check out all of our great NC State stuff. Got a lot of exciting plans coming up for some really fun episodes, and obviously have a lot of cool stuff already. And just like in game 14 Alpha said, go check it out. Things NC State fans never say. So those are always fun things to check out. Well, thank you all so much again. Make sure to tune in next weekend. We're doing this every single Sunday, 7:30, talking about the previous game, talking about the upcoming game. So these are a lot of fun. So thank you all so much again. As always, go Pack, y'all, and have a great evening.
Guys, enjoy the win last night.
Enjoy the win, y'all.